Let me go. Please don't!
So we are talking about the movie Kill Command, a 2016 science fiction action film, also known as Identify. Now this one is written and directed by Stephen Gomez, who actually comes from a special effects background, and this is his first foray into feature filmdom. Now this movie has been described as a mix of both Aliens and the Terminator. But one film where I feel this movie is most like is the movie Dog Soldiers. Now bear with me, now both of these films basically focuses on a group of soldiers as they go on seemingly a routine exercise out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. Now they are accompanied by a mysterious female who has some kind of connection to the antagonists that will basically be coming in both of these movies. Now they are attacked by a surprise enemy that they are simply not expecting. Obviously dog soldiers being werewolves, in this one robotic entities, and then they end up having a kind of final standoff with these kind of like adversaries in a more built up area. So this film so reminds me of the movie Dog Soldiers, which is not such a bad thing because Dog Soldiers is a very good film, but it is very, very reminiscent of it. So that basically concludes both the plot of both Dog Soldiers and Kill Command. So let's talk a little bit about it. Now this obviously is a sci-fi film, and Stephen Gomez, who is the director, obviously coming from a special effects background. Obviously these effects are very important to them, and I have to say I really enjoyed the effects here. Now I would go far to say this film, I've only just seen it, but I've been aware of it for some time, and I was so convinced I was going to like this movie. I've actually had already pre-ordered the Blu-ray steelbook before ever even seeing the film. So was my money worth it? Was it well spent? It was. I enjoyed this film. This movie is a tasty treat with a mashup of Aliens, Terminator and said Dog Soldiers, and it was delicious. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, but I will have a couple of criticisms that I'll kind of run through now. So I feel the most glaring criticism here is maybe the writing. In two areas I would say. First and foremost, I feel this movie could have done with a little more setup. Maybe setting the stage for the kind of the world that we're living in this kind of particular time. When you first watching this movie, I feel you're a little bit confused about the world that we're living in. So I feel that it could have had a few more scenes at the beginning of the film setting up the kind of this robotics company, who this woman is, and things like that. Basically, because I kind of feel like maybe I missed something, or I wasn't quite understanding, where it was coming from in that respect. You could have catch up throughout the film, but I felt it could have done with a couple more scenes at the beginning to kind of give you a little more setup. And the other thing that I'll kind of again go in with the writing here is I feel maybe the characterization here is a little bit lacking. When we see these kind of soldiers, maybe with the exception of the sergeant, they're all kind of fairly generic and don't really have much of a character themselves. And I felt maybe you could have done a little bit of job here writing some of the kind of the character motivations and kind of getting to know the characters a little bit better. So a few kind of nitpicks in regards to the writing itself. But other than that, I mean, like I said, other than the plot being somewhat kind of derivative and especially very similar to the movie Dog Soldiers, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. This film was a very well made, low budget sci-fi film. It's tense, it's exciting, the special effects here are very, very good for the budget that it's got here, and I really like the design of the kind of the robotic entities. And there's kind of there's a couple of different designs that you'll see through the film, and I really kind of like the kind of the evolution of that you'll see in them, the way they kind of act. And I think, although you can kind of spot obviously some CGI here and there, I think for the budget certainly it's done to an extremely high level. I think there's some kind of the action scenes are particularly well shot. I thought they do seem kind of very kind of visceral, and when you feel kind of a bullet hit, through these people that are actually, you know, you feel the impacts basically. I do question where they get the ammo from with this movie. That's maybe the only other thing. Robots and humans, they seem to never really kind of worry too much about running out of ammo. It is the future, so who knows, eh? But I thought overall, again, the acting was quite good as well. You know, no real problems with the acting here. I thought all the, you know, obviously the direction, the camera movements, the cinematography, all very good, all to professional standards. My main issues really are to do with the kind of the writing here. I maybe felt that had a little bit more sort of a polish to it. This obviously would be a pretty damn good classic film. On its own, I still feel this is definitely a worthy film to check out if you're a sci-fi fan, if you're an action movie fan, if you like the kind of like the future kind of sort of portions of the Terminator movies. You're obviously going to like this film. It's kind of very kind of reminiscent of that. Obviously, there's a ghost in the machine, so to speak. The ending, it leaves it kind of open to a certain degree. I won't kind of go into too much into it. So it definitely has a kind of a sequel possibilities. I wasn't quite so keen on it, I have to be honest with you, in regards to maybe the final shot. But it's kind of one of these ones where it leaves it somewhat open to interpretation. But there you go. But overall, this was a damn good film. It's very well made, an exciting film. Definitely keeps your interest, and I'll definitely be wanting to see more of Mr. Gomez's work. And as it is, I'm very glad that I ordered the Blu-ray steelbook of this. Definitely worth checking out. I'm going to give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? So leave me a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.